The Prophet ﷺ goes and collects the food, and he tells the people, your mother has felt jealousy. She's jealous. He's explaining her. I say to myself when I read this hadith, Wallah, I will step on her stomach and jump. Doing this in front of the men, she's disgracing me. But then I remember, no, I cannot do this. I have to follow the Prophet. And then I remember, okay, women by nature are jealous. So this is their nature. They have to control their jealousy. They have to stop themselves from doing haram with their jealousy. But you can never as a man say, I don't understand how you think. Why are you jealous if I marry another woman? What's wrong in that? Well, akhi, if she marries another man, how would you feel? I will kill her. Now you know. So it is natural in a woman to be jealous. But we don't want too much of jealousy. That's why it has two O's, which shows you, subhanallah. And that is why the Prophet ﷺ, as in the hadith of Anas ibn Malik, he said, why don't you marry from the Ansar, the people of Medina? The Prophet did not marry anyone of the Ansar. So Anas is asking, and the people of Medina are asking, this is a shame. We would like you to marry from our women. And the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, Ansar are extremely jealous. The women of Al-Ansar are extremely jealous. And that is why the Prophet ﷺ did not marry from them. So extreme jealousy is not a feature that you would like to have in your wife. However, do we have a miswak? Okay, a question. Who among the Prophet ﷺ wives was known to be jealous, yet the Prophet married her? No? No? You're gonna mention the whole names of the... By the way, I have three of my daughters, Maymuna, Hafsa, and Aisha. No. Hafsa, no, again. I told you I have Maymuna, I have Hafsa, I have Aisha, and none of them. Salama, give him a swak. He's from the in-house? Okay. Salama, when Abu Salama died, Abu Salama was the brother of the Prophet ﷺ by suckling, right? Was he? Yes. Who's the third brother? Hamza. Very good. Then give them a miswak. Okay. They have? Okay. The sister who answered needs a miswak. Good. When he died, the Prophet proposed to Salama. She refused. But she justified her refusal. She said, O Prophet of Allah, I'm an old woman. I have a lot of children. And I also are very jealous. What did the Prophet say, as for your children, they're mine. I will support them. Don't worry. As for your age, I am older than you. So you don't have any problem. As for your jealousy, what is the solution? I will pray to Allah that He will take it away from you. And did Allah accept his prayer? Yes. How do we know? He? No, she did not. The one who sacrificed her night was Sauda bint Zum'ah. May Allah be pleased with her. Look at the life that the Prophet was leading, alayhi salam. The Prophet's wives were two parties fighting against each other. The first party was led by Aisha and Hafsa. And the second party was led by Zainab bin Jahsh and the rest. And the Prophet was in the middle. So whenever they had a problem, the second party would complain. The Prophet always goes to Aisha, So they asked one of the Prophet's wives to go and mediate and to intercede to the Prophet. Who did they choose? Salama. The scholars say they chose Salama because she did not have the jealousy. So the Prophet would accept her intercession. He knows that she's not taking sides. Anyone would go? No, he's taking sides. So that is why Salama, may Allah be pleased with her, did not have the jealousy, because of the Prophet's dua. Okay. Among the characteristics that we look in a woman, that she does not have any hardship in getting married. Easy on her dowry, easy in the marriage expenses. This is among the best. Because at the end of the day, what's the conclusion of marriage? Is that you get your wife in a house. So if I can afford to do this with the least amount of money, then my marriage would be perfect and my marriage would be complete. We stop here? Yeah? Q&A inshallah. Wallahu a'lam wa nisbatul ilmi ilayhi aslam.
The question, if a sister had a disease like cancer and she's now cured, does she have to inform her to-be husband about it?
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. The deficiencies or the illnesses that deprive the husband from having a perfect marital life, they must be told to the husband in advance. And those illnesses or deficiencies that do not affect the husband, they are not to be told. And I'll give you an example. If a wife has a deficiency or an illness that prevents the husband from fully enjoying her, so she has a problem in her private parts, for example, or she has, as in the case of breast cancer, she had one of her breasts surgically removed. May Allah cure all those who have this illness and prevent those who do not have it from having it. So a man proposes and we say, no, we are not going to tell him that she has only one breast. Is this permissible? No. He has to be informed, because this affects how he is enjoying her. But if she has, for example, a birthmark on her back of shoulder, it's a big birthmark, does she have to tell him? It has nothing to do with enjoying her. If she has an illness in her skin that is making her skin not acceptable, or maybe it repels people if they see it, yes, we have to tell him. If she has an illness that gives her mouth a very bad breath, we have dentists here, there are some illnesses that are not easily removed and they're permanent, and in Arabic fiqh we call it abkhar. He's smelling, and it is one of the excuses that permits a person from not attending salah. It's like onion and garlic. No, this is worse. So bad smell. If the woman has this, she has to be cleared. It has to be cleared to the husband. But if it's normal, no. Normal things. Imam al-Sha'bi, he was one of the scholars of Islam, and he had a lot of sense of humor in him. A man came to him and said, Sheikh, I married a woman and only discovered afterwards that she limps. So shall I return her back to her family because this is a defect? He says, yes, if you want to race with her, yes. Limping is not something that affects the marriage. So if she limps, I'm not going to race with her. She's not a horse. So this is not something that usually would affect the marriage. Wallahu alam.
You have any online questions, inshallah?
If a bride's family gives some kind of dowry by their own wish, should the groom reject it or should he accept it? Because it's kind of like a ritual, and if a man accepted it during his marriage, so what should he do?
I believe that the question is, if a man receives gifts from the family of the girl, should he accept it or not? The answer is definitely accept it, as long as it's coming as a gift. But what is not permissible is for you to give a list. When you propose, I'd like to have a car, I'd like to have a flat, I'd like to have 100,000 in my bank account. My mother needs this, my father, and he has a long list of what he needs. This is haram.
If it's a ritual, can you accept it? If it's a ritual in the tribe, in the
It's a
community.
ritual.
Yeah.
It's an un-Islamic ritual. It definitely he cannot accept it. It is different when I get married in Saudi, for example. The relatives of my wife, they give us without me instructing it or asking or requesting it. They give, one example, my father-in-law says, I'll give you a refrigerator. And my mother-in-law says, I'll give you the oven. My family say, for example, my uncle says, I'll furnish your bedroom. The others say, I will furnish your kitchen with dishes and so on. This is all acceptable because this is mutual help, gifts, no problem. Giving gifts is okay. What is a problem is that you as a man do not give dowry, you do not get the house, you do not furnish the house. All of this is haram. This is your responsibility. But if anything comes as a gift without you asking or demanding or not becoming as a ritual, yes. Again, another problem is when I'm invited to a wedding. It is mandatory for me to bring a present. Who says this? I go to all weddings, I never give anything. This is not an obligation. When it comes an obligation, it becomes a bid'ah. It becomes a financial hardship. Because I have to go to my cousin's house, I have to go to my brother-in-law's marriage, and I have to give him money, I have to give... No, this is haram. No obligation. Financial obligation of such is not part of the Islam.
Second question. In case the girl had a past relationship and she has stopped, she has repented, but she doesn't want to get married again because she feels this thing will come back again, the thinking. So this will remind her about her past relationship. So is it right? She can...
No, she is not. This is not right. As long as she had repented from her previous sin and she gets deep remorse, Allah is most forgiving. She has to have full and complete trust in Allah, and she has to go on with the marriage, and with the grace of Allah, Allah will make her marriage blessed.
Yeah, we'll take an online question.
Question from Islamic University Malaysia. What if you see a beautiful girl and want to propose her but feel fear and cannot speak to her? How to propose in that condition?
You don't propose to her, first of all. Second of all, do not, I repeat, do not approach a girl even if you want to marry her. And sisters, if someone comes to you when you're in college, when you're in the street, when you're in the office, and says, Assalamu alaikum, I appreciate your hijab, and you want to marry you, but I don't know your father's name, so can I have your name, your email, your phone number, and your father's address? And you think that, oh, he wants to marry me. Okay, here is my card. This is haram. Don't take yourself to that low level. Respect yourself. You're a Muslim girl. You are dignified. You have your honor and pride. Don't sell yourself cheap. Don't talk to anyone who comes and proposes to you. If he wants to know where you live, he will find. If he wants to know who you are, he will find it. But 99.9%, this is exactly like the elections in Arab world. Always 99.9%, everybody's elected. 99.9% in your case, this man is playing with you. So don't ever respond or answer him. If you're sincere and you want to get married to this girl, you have to find a way to know her family and propose to her, if this is your question.
The hadith, which says a woman may be married for 4 reasons. Does it say it is okay to marry for 4 reasons? People use it as a dalil to ignore the 4th reason, that is virtue.
No one says that marrying a woman for her beauty is haram. If I want to, that is why it's permissible for me to marry a Christian. There's no religion at all. She's kafir. But it's permissible for me. If I find someone that appeals to me and I want to marry her, it's halal with the conditions to marry a Christian woman. So The hadith indicates that this is the norm. Not everyone marries for the purpose of the religion, which means that it's permissible to marry for other three purposes. But the best is to marry for a woman who is, or with a woman who is practicing.
A question from online.
The question says, I am going to get married by seeing a spouse in a photo and by meeting the spouse with the wali. What sort of questions should I ask while meeting the spouse to evaluate the spouse in the, spouse in the scale of deen and whether she will be compatible for me?
First question would be, is your photo touched by Photoshop or not? I do not at all advise the issue of sending photos. This is completely unacceptable because the photo can be circulated. You know, she comes to me, she sends me an email, this is my photo. Nice. Send it to my friends. It can be lost. It can be. So this is not. And so many times a photograph is misleading. I see a woman's photograph and I say, ugh, what is this? It's not human. And if you see her in real life, subhanAllah, she's extremely beautiful. And the opposite. You see a photo, some men, some women are photogenic, they call it. When you see a photo, mashallah, and when you see it in real life, so it is misleading and it is un-Islamic. Now, you have another alternative, alhamdulillah. If the guardian is there, you can use Skype. So if you're really interested in getting married, you can use Skype and she talks to you. You can talk to her, you can have a sense of how she really looks. What are the questions to ask to know if she is really practicing or not? The sky is the limit, but remember, when you propose to someone, this is not an interrogation. So one of the brothers came to marry a girl, proposed to her. In the engagement, the father told me that when he came to see his daughter, he was with them, the father. The guy says, after saying Salaam Alaikum, and the girl came, she sat down. You know, girl is bashful and shy. The man did this. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulullah. Question 1. And the father is saying, and the guy asked about 15 questions. Saying, where did you go to school? Okay, if in an incident you saw this and that, what will you react? What kind of interview is this? He's going to propose, and the girl, the poor girl, is like in high school. Do I have multiple questions? Can I have a choice between two? So no, you have to answer this. This is not the way. How to evaluate your future spouse? You have to investigate. It's the interview. If you interview me, I have the skill to convince you in 5 minutes. There are people that are very good in interviewing. They know how to dodge questions, and they know in a way diplomatic. With the grace of Allah, I have this talent. Whenever I'm interviewed, I always get high marks. Impress the people in front of me and make them, he's the man. And I don't know anything. There are people who are not like this, who are very experienced, very good, but in interviews, I don't know, maybe. And they come out of the interview, I did a mistake. Wallah, I didn't know how So an interview is misleading. Before the marriage, you have to do your homework. A man comes to propose to my daughter. I see the man. I meet the man. But before I meet him, I have a list of questions that I have to answer. So I have to see the imam of the masjid, where he prays. I ask the imam. I ask the mu'adhin, how do you think of the boy? He says, mashallah, he prays in the first row. This is not enough. Has he ever fought with anyone in the masjid? Is his voice loud? Does he shout? Does he hold a grudge? No. Okay, I go ask his friends at school or in the workplace. How is he? MashaAllah, his friends. What will they say? Oh, it's good. I said, this is not what I want. Question 1. Is he generous or not? So, not that much. But yes, he's not stingy. Okay, acceptable. Alhamdulillah. I don't want him to spend his money. But I don't want him to be stingy. Question number 2. Does he argue and nag? No, mashallah. Okay, good. Question number 3. Does he ever fight? Is he usually in a state of rage? Is it easy for him to be not intimidated, provoked? Some people are always tensed, sensitive. If you say something, they take a position. This is not a very good person to live with. So they say, no, mashallah, all these are okay. Let's have the meeting. He comes and I interview him. Talk to me. Because as a sheikh, I talk a lot. And when someone proposing, I'm the one who's doing the talking. No, you talk. And I ask a few questions and I listen to him. And I assess his personality. 3rd stage, he visits me and my daughter comes. And I sit in between. Why? So that when I talk to him, she has room to look at him. And when I talk to her, he can look at her without being shy that I'm watching. But if I put them in front, no one will look. They will look at me. So this is what I do. After the half an hour, 40 minutes, they go. Following day, my daughter, how do you feel? She laughs and she looks at the ground. Okay. They call the same day or the following day. Her mother calls my wife and she says, the boy is hooked. So can we come and propose officially? I said, you come, and everything goes quick. So to the sister who's a sister or brother? He was a brother, huh? No, because he says the spouse and her wali.
But yeah,
See?
it's a brother.
He's a brother. That's why it's good to study usul al-fiqh. It makes you correct things. So I asked the brother for you to ask, how can I no, you cannot. You have to investigate. You have to ask the people, the friends, where she works, where she studies, and then seek Allah's guidance and find out a way, and may Allah make it easy upon all of us.
Before we wind up, inshallah, there's one last question from sister's side. I think she wants to ask directly. Inshallah, we'll have the question now. Mike.
I have a question. There's one sister whom I know who's willing to marry a religious person. Even she's also religious, alhamdulillah.
Speak, please.
Sorry?
I come from Saudi Arabia. My English is not very good. So speak slowly so that I can understand you. I'm too old for this. You know a sister who is wanting to marry?
A religious person.
Religious, okay.
And she's also religious, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
And she's got many proposals from boys who are who say they are religious. They fast, they pray, they do not go to any graves and all. But when you look at their way of dressing, their appearance, they don't have beards. They wear their pants below the ankles. Maybe when we ask them, when we talk to them, they say they have loans. They take loans from banks on interest. So is it acceptable to get married to somebody who's like that? Or we just have to look for the right aqidah? Like if they just pray to Allah alone, they don't, they say that they don't go to any graves and all. They don't go to any grave, they don't do any grave worship, they don't do any bid'ah, but still they do all this. That is, they don't have a proper appearance. Is it okay to get married to them? Or do we still have to look for a person who is, who
I
has
understand. I understand the question. The problem is that to answer this question, it's not 1 + 1 = 2. It's not easy because it has many factors that govern the answer. Among them, 1, the Prophet ﷺ told us if a man with 2 qualities comes to you, you should give him in marriage. What are these qualities? We will come to this inshallah in the second session. His akhlaq and his religious practicing. So these are 2 criteria. Now you're telling me that this is a religious brother, but his dress, his pants are below the ankles, he's shaved, he doesn't do that. What kind of practicing is this? He is a Muslim, but he's not practicing, he's not religious. Now, if you tell me that he has good aqidah, 90% of the Muslims have good aqidah. They don't go to dargahs, they don't worship graves, but they're not practicing. So, among the factors that answer this question is the level of the sister herself. If you tell me that the sister is really practicing, she has this long beard, meaning yani she is mashallah, she is 100% practicing hijab, niqab, she doesn't listen to music, she doesn't watch movies, she doesn't mix with the opposite sex, she does not she prays night prayer, she fasts Mondays and Thursdays, she attend halaqas, mashallah, this is a perfect Muslimah. And someone like this proposes to her, definitely I would say no. Completely. You choose someone who is like you or above you. Never choose someone who's below you. But if she says, Sheikh, I am religious, but I listen to music, and I have posters of Shah Rukh Khan in my room, and I go to mixed marriages, and I don't wear the niqab, but I wear this hijab, and sometimes my hair comes a little bit. I wear nail polish when I go outside. I may put some makeup. I do, but I'm religious. What kind of religion is this? If she's like this, I would say yes. If a brother proposes to her who has good akhlaq and this level of iman, okay. But if she is not, no. Don't take anyone who is below you. Especially if you're a woman. Why? Because man is more superior. He will drag you down. And life is extremely, I know two, I hope they're not watching, two ladies in Jeddah who are da'is, big da'is, students of knowledge. They usually call me and take my advice, ask me about this, and mashallah. And I know their husbands, and their husbands are completely not practicing. Well shaven, thobes, pray off and on in the masjid. And they're living in hell. They're 50 years old, the women, 52 years old. And they're complaining, but can they do anything better? No. This is how they, of course, when they get married, they were not practicing. Now, they're students of knowledge, their circle is attended by hundreds of women. Yet, what can they do? And you look at them, they are suffering with their children because the children are not practicing due to the influence of the father. So choose someone who's like you or better than you, and then you will have, inshallah, a better life. Allah knows best.
Jazakallah khairan, Sheikh.
Yes?
You just now said about the week-long marriage celebrations. And if it happened to be your own brother, should I attend the marriage or better to be away from that?
It is a marriage for week-long celebration.
Yes.
It is their own brother's marriage.
Yes.
You have to attend it or you have to skip it.
No. Attend one party and that is it. Khalas, alhamdulillah. One night, first night. Anything. I believe that you have to draw the line. Explain it to the people with a big smile. Apologize to them and tell them that I cannot attend such customs that go against the Islam. We have to draw the line. And I'll give you an example. As we stated before, marriage and death are similar. We have a practice in Saudi Arabia that if someone dies, we put lights outside the house, we put chairs, and people come between Maghrib and Isha to give their condolences. And usually we have someone to recite the Quran or a cassette player playing the Quran. It's a ritual. And once the Quran is over, the people stand up and they come to the family of the deceased and they give them their condolences. عظم الله أجركم. May Allah forgive your deceased, and they leave. This is a bid'ah. Do you have it here? You don't have it. What happens if someone dies? Oh, third day they will give a party. Yeah, subhanallah. We have the first and second and third day. And after Isha, every night, food and sheep and rice is given away to those who came to give their condolences. So it's 3-night free dinner. This is haram. And it's an innovation. But every single one is doing it. Especially in the western province, in Mecca, Medina and Jeddah. Now, when my uncle died, he was about 85 years old, 90 years old. and he died last year. I washed him, took his funeral, prayed, and buried him. And I am his nephew. I am the closest, one of the closest relatives. The 3 nights of mourning, I did not attend. I did not even reach the house. And everybody was saying, what is this? What is this? This is not right. This is not correct. I could care less, because I've pointed out to them, I did the most difficult thing to do, which is the proceedings of the funeral, of preparation of the funeral. Now my mother, may Allah bless her soul, she's about 90 years old. I told her this and she agreed completely, that if she dies, we will not do any of this thing. And she lives with me. And I told them the same thing. If I die, not a single chair to be put, no lights. You don't open the house for a reception. If someone comes to the house to give the condolences, no problem. Don't give them tea, don't give them coffee. Unless it's for hospitality. But it is not a place of gathering, because Jarir ibn Abdullah al-Bajali, may Allah be pleased with him, said in the authentic hadith, we, the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, used to consider gathering for mourning and making food for the people kind of weeping and wailing, kind of niyaha, which is one of the major sins in Islam. So they never did this. They used to avoid doing this. So we have to hang the bell. But we don't hang the bell by forcing people, by making Islam unpleasant to them. We have to do it diplomatically, with a smile, try to convince them. If they're not convinced, well, we tell them, well, I respect your opinion, you should respect mine as well, instead of doing it in a harsh and hard way, and Allah Azza wa Jalla knows best.